Welcome to another episode of Financial Ventures. This video will be divided into two, as we will talk about how the China economy behaves right now. If you like the content, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for more informative videos about finances. China was on track to surpass the United States and take over as the largest economy in the world in 2014. Many thought that this, which they called an economic miracle, may occur as soon as 2024. China went from being a developing nation to an international power in just a few decades. On the list of giant corporations worldwide, more and more Chinese enterprises began to occur globally. With this power, the nation was one of the most significant trading partners, accelerating globalization. After a short period, China is faced with a wide range of dire economic and political issues. A mini youth revolt, a debt crisis, external infrastructure problems, internal debt problems, zero covered policy real estate, and a declining economy are just a few of the recent difficulties plaguing the country. The consequences of these problems pose a threat to the nation's very political systems. How did China get here? And what are the repercussions for China and the rest of the world? Let's start with comprehending the topic that has received the most attention, the real estate bubble. With the implementation of economic reform in 1979, the Chinese economy and housing market saw their most significant rise. People moved from rural areas to major urban centers to enhance their quality of life. The average person would need 50 years to save enough money to purchase an apartment after accounting for living costs. The Chinese real estate market differs significantly from the Western, especially in the collective pooling of funds from friends and families. Some businesses, such as the infamous Evergrande, seized the opportunity and quickly expanded, helped in large part by the accessibility of low cost borrowing. Evergrande grew so big that they even invested money in a theme park and a soccer team. The theme park has been closed down. It's a terrible waste of time, money, and resources. Commercial home sales in foreign markets reached $2.7 trillion in 2020, and several of these property institutions swiftly grew to be the biggest in the nation. Currently, the real estate industry in China is where the general populace has stored around 70% of their overall income. Again, 70% of their money is held in the real estate market. The plan, however, began to unravel as soon as the population growth in big cities decreased from 4.1% in 1996 to 2.1% in 2020. Developers began to rely more and more on banks and international debt as pre-sales started to slow down to continue expanding. When the debt payment was too high to be covered by operational profits, they had to take on more debt to meet their obligations. Everything continued for a while, but suddenly, the Chinese government joined the plan. The Chinese government implemented the Three Red Lines policy in August 2020. Each line denotes a debt ratio that businesses had to adhere to or risk losing their ability to enter into contracts. Developers with excessive debt loads like Evergrande crossed all three lines, making it impossible for them to take on new liabilities. Because Evergrande used debt to finance existing liabilities, it didn't take long for them to start experiencing liquidity issues. First, they neglected to compensate wealth managers who had made their direct investments in the business, which led to a significant uprising by investors and wealth managers who protested at their headquarters in September 2021. Evergrande skipped payments on wealth management at a very crucial point. Ordinary individuals in China have access to the wealth management market and can invest their savings and money in real estate through companies like Evergrande. When these investors didn't receive their money back, they flocked to Evergrande's Xinjiang headquarters. People need to figure out where to get their money, so they went to the Shenzhen government for assistance, but no one steps up. This was when the situation changed from a small issue to a crisis shortly after Evergrande began to default on its obligations to pay off its dollar bonds. Evergrande wasn't the only real estate company having issues. In November 2021, property developer Caser skipped a 400 million bond payment. These bonds were sold to Western countries. The USO Group asked to postpone the payment of offshore bonds worth 582 million in January 2022. The Shimayo Group defaulted on a debt of $101 million. This led to a significant internal and external loss of confidence in the Chinese housing and bond markets, culminating in mortgage strikes by eminent buyers making their monthly payments but seeing little movement on the residences they had purchased. It's estimated that around 320 homeowner groups have refused to make mortgage loan payments. Chinese home purchasers and real estate developers have halted work on their residences since July. They have also proclaimed a boycott of mortgages in more than 100 locations throughout China. The value of these loans is believed to be between 150 and 300 billion dollars for home buyers who have threatened to cease making mortgage payments on more than 300 projects. Since then, the Chinese government has loosened regulations a little, and the Chinese central bank has also lowered interest rates to boost the credit and housing markets. We'll have to wait and watch what transpires in this case. It's unclear whether the situation will calm down or if further unresolved land disputes will spark trouble. In addition to this, as actual estate related activities account for close to 30% of China's annual GDP, the stability of China and the local governments are at risk if the property sector collapses. Thank you so much for watching and staying with us until the end of this video. Be sure to check out part 2 of our discussion, where we continue to provide you with all things needed to understand how China's economy can affect the world. Please comment with your thoughts and suggest what else you want us to discuss. We hope to see you at the next one. Remember, it's better with financial venture. Be safe and make wise investment choices.